Okay, good afternoon. This is Brian Short with NetPicks and Premier Trader University. Thanks for taking the time to be with us today for our webinar on how to trade ETFs with options. So a lot of times options get, when you think of options, you're thinking about stocks, right? But we're going to show you today specifically how you can trade ETFs. And if you don't know what ETFs are, hang on and we'll show you here in just a few minutes. We like to make these presentations very interactive, and by doing that, what we're asking for is give us your questions. Any question, there's no dumb questions, so feel free in the text box to step up to the text box, so to speak, ask that question, and we have coaches that will be on today. Will's on. He'll be answering your questions. I'll be answering questions, and then at the end of the presentation, we'll have an open Q&A for anything that's left. All right, so let me go over the agenda as to what we're going to cover today. So first of all, I'll tell you a little bit about who we are and a little bit of history on NetPicks. We're going to show you, as I mentioned, how you can trade options in as little as 20 minutes a day. And I'm serious when I say that. These trade setups don't take that long. It's very obvious on the chart when you have a setup and what you need to do. And you can really, really maximize your time with this approach. We're going to show you how to reduce your trade costs by using options. You know, if you're an active day trader, one of the things you have to pay is commission on each trade. And if you're very active, placing 3 to 5 to 10 trades a day, that can get expensive. Options, we're going to show you how they can be pretty low cost. We're going to show you specifically today how you can trade ETFs, electronically traded funds. It's a great way to diversify, and it's it really can be pretty powerful in trading the overall indexes because you're trading a basket of stocks instead of a single stock. We're going to show you how we're doing, and I was on the line here prior to starting with Mike, and he really loves the current market conditions where the market sells off. Those those are the times we find we make literally a killing, and very quickly on a lot of our trades. He's going to show you some examples today of his current trade statistics. And then obviously at the end we're going to give you the opportunity to get involved, and for 3 of you that decide to get involved today, we're going to give you a special bonus, the first 3. So stick around for more information on that. So a little bit about NetPicks and who we are. Again, I'm Brian Short, top right here on our slide, and Mark Soberman, the founder of NetPicks, is the top left, and Mike Trixie down here at the bottom left. And Will is on the call. He's answering your questions. He's our lead developer. He develops a lot of the calculators and so forth that you see on your on the chart. And so let me tell you a little bit about Mike, and then we're going to dive right into the presentation. So Mike first became interested in options when he was in college, and out of the gate he had some amazing success, and that success came, and I'm sure that you, a lot of you on here that have experience will remember this, his success came trading around earnings releases. And the one thing that we knew would happen around earnings releases is there would be a surprise, typically, or not. And a lot of times they would move in one direction, and so he had a lot of success early on trading that style, but ended up in the long run giving it all back and kind of resetting to zero. It was after that that Mike decided he was going to really devote the next several years to learning everything and anything about options. And that's what he did. And out of that process then, he had a better understanding of how to trade options and what to do in the different conditions, what the different variables mean, and really how to apply options to his trading, and it really has helped him achieve the success he's had to date. It was shortly after that he discovered NetPicks. I remember this. He came on board. He did a presentation for us in Vegas. Did an awesome job. We could tell right away he was very knowledgeable on the subject, and he was a diehard customer, and then ended up converting to becoming a diehard coach. Mike is our senior options analyst. Everything options here at NetPicks goes through him, and so he is our expert and guru when it comes to options. As I mentioned earlier, he does do a little bit of day trading on the future side of the equation. But if you ask Mike where his passion is and what he really, really enjoys, he would tell you that options trading is where he makes the bulk of his revenue and his trading income. So with that, I am going to turn the mic over to Mike, and he will take you through the balance of today's presentation. So Mike, it's all yours.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Brian. Welcome in, everybody. Really excited to talk for the next 45 minutes or so, just to show you some of the trades that we've taken here lately. Like Brian mentioned, this current condition that we're seeing right now, I mean, we're seeing the market sell off, we're seeing moves back and forth in both directions. Just a really exciting time to be involved in the markets. I talk to a lot of people that tend to get worried about the move to the downside. I know it's fun when we're in a market that never goes down, which we saw for a couple of years. But what a lot of newer people don't realize, if you've just gotten involved in the markets over the past couple of years, you really haven't seen a sell-off. We have not seen any type of significant selling for a number of years now. Well, that story is changing. And what you're going to see here today, I actually appreciate when the market goes down. It gives me so much opportunity. When I look back over the past 10 years, most of the money, I shouldn't say most of the money, most of the big stretches where I see the most growth in my equity curve comes when the market moves to the downside. Because everything escalates. Everything happens a lot quicker. And that's what we're seeing here. Really, we've seen it over the past week and a half. When we start to see these sell-offs, everything happens in the blink of an eye. And that's really it's the ideal scenario for me as an options trader. So you don't have to be worried about the downside. Okay, I'm going to show you ways that you can benefit and profit from the market, regardless of what type of move we see. If we get a move in a couple of weeks back up to all-time highs, that's fine. We can make really great money when the market moves higher also. So really exciting trading here, and like Brian mentioned, we do have some special offers for you at the end of the presentation. And just a preview, we will give you the opportunity to have access to the system that we're going to show you today for free, and we'll walk you through how you can actually take advantage of that program. All right, so a lot of times when I work with traders, the topic comes up, Mike, why do you prefer options trading? Okay, I do day trade when my schedule allows, and when I have time during the morning hours, I do like to go in and place some active trades, but the main source of my income comes from the options trading. There's a number of reasons for that, and I want to touch on a few of those here over the next couple of minutes. I think it's important because these 4 bullet points here, they really lay the foundation for what type of trader I am, and also what type of systems I like to use. What is the whole idea behind our PTU system? And really, it's built, all of my trade plans really are formed around this approach right here. The first thing for me is the time aspect. Okay, today is a perfect example of why I like to swing trade with options. I've had very little time to look at the charts today. I know the markets have been active. This is one of those days where I'm kicking myself. I really wish I could have day traded this morning. I had a very packed schedule from the get-go today. I've been in meetings, I've been answering emails, I've been getting ready for the webinar today, just had a lot going on. As I glance over to my P&L for the day, I'm having a phenomenal day. I'm definitely profitable, definitely making money, and I've looked at the charts for probably about 10, 15 minutes so far, grand total, and now we're heading into lunchtime. So I like to look at the charts for 20 minutes a day or less. Okay, that's what I like to do. Now, if you look at that and say, Mike, that doesn't sound realistic, well, I'm going to show you how I do it here in just a second. Second, I don't want you to feel the pressure to have to get in 20 minutes a day or less. This number here for you might be 45 minutes, might be an hour. Okay, we polled you guys, and 55% of you are looking at the markets between 2 to 4+ hours a day. So shoot, if you can get in and out in 45 minutes a day or less, you're cutting off a tremendous amount of time. You're just freeing up your schedule to do other things. If you're like me, I don't have a desire to stare at the screens all day long. As much as I love the markets, I have other things that I enjoy doing as well. So I don't want to be glued to my screen all day long. Next is the leverage. I know there's other great products out there. There's Forex, there's futures. Those offer great leverage as well. But when I start to take a look at the options markets, in our previous webinar, we talked about trading some of the high flyers, some of the big tech names, names like Google and Apple. We walk you through how you can trade those really high price names for a fraction of the cost, and I love that. because it opens up a whole new universe of products for us. If I were not trading the options, could I trade a product like Google or Priceline? No, it's just going to tie up way too much of my capital. I can't even put on a decent sized position. But when we start talking about options and that leverage there, I am not limited at all. I can trade ETFs, I can trade stocks, I can trade index products. It does not matter to me because of that great leverage. Okay, and I think that's so important for retail traders. We have access to limited funds. We have to make sure we make the best use of that capital. And for the options markets, that's a perfect way for me to do that. Next is the consistency. What you'll learn from me as you hear me speak, I trade the same names consistently, day in, day out, week in, week out. My watch list, it really doesn't change all that often. Okay, now I'm not going to be stubborn. I mean, if we need to add some new names as markets heat up and die off over time, I'm going to do so. But it's not a situation where I'm scanning hundreds or thousands of names on a nightly or a weekly basis. I think if you're doing that, I think it's going to be really difficult to be consistent over time, because you're going to end up pulling names off of those scans that you're not familiar with, that you're not comfortable with. You can't trade those with confidence. What I have found is by trading the same names consistently, I have a comfort level with them. I really feel confident in taking the setups as they come. I'm not taking the trades, fingers crossed, hoping for the best. I'm taking these trades knowing that the odds are in my favor. Okay, so that's a huge benefit, and that's also just goes back to me not wanting to spend more than 20 minutes a day on my swing trades. And finally, the flexibility, like I touched on. Okay, the market very, very active on the downside here over the past week and a half. Okay, I want to trade products that allow me to benefit from the moves to the downside. I don't want to be limited to waiting for that bull market. Okay, a lot of people just assume that the only way to make money is if we see the markets move to the upside. It's not the case. And we can take this a step further. We can actually take trade types that will benefit if the market goes straight sideways. Okay, that's probably a new concept to many of you. Okay, we're not going to have time to talk through some of those advanced trades here today, but there's actually strategies that we can use where if the market doesn't do what we expect it to do, if the market gets straight choppy and slow, that's fine. We can still make money. In fact, in our training room here yesterday, we walked through selling some premium. Okay, we actually, instead of buying an option to open a position, we actually sold a position to open it up. So now all of a sudden we make money if the market moves in our favor, but we also make money if the market moves straight sideways. So we win in 2 out of 3 market conditions. Okay, those are the types of trades that we'll put on where it's just increasing your odds of success. Okay, we've got a lot of you in here today. 30% of you are profitable, I believe was the final number. I would love to get that number up to the 80, 90% level. Okay, my goal is to help everybody come over to that profitable side. So by taking these types of trades, by selecting the proper products, you're really going to increase your odds of getting over to that profitable side instead of just being stuck spinning your wheels day in and day out. Okay, so I know a lot of these topics. I know that's probably why many of you are here. Okay, there's a lot of nice features about trading options. I could go on and on with these, but I want to start to transition on over to what makes us different. What makes our approach different than many of the other products out there and many of the other traders that look at options. And we're going to talk specifically about ETFs today. And I know many of you are familiar with ETFs. I just want to cover some basics here initially. When I say an ETF, we're talking about an exchange-traded fund. And it's a security that tracks an index or a commodity or a basket of assets like an index fund, but it trades like a stock on an exchange. Okay, so it definitely has the look and feel initially of a mutual fund, but it's actually an exchange-traded product. So we can actually go in, trade these as active as we want to right on an exchange. So it's a really great way to diversify. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. So if you've got a smaller account size, instead of just having all of your account tied up in just 1 or 2 individual equities, let's spread that risk out a bit. Let's look at some of these baskets that will get you easily diversified. And some of these ETFs that we're going to take a look at today are super active. Some of the most active traded products in the world. So volume and open interest are just great on these products, makes it very easy to get in and get out regardless of what's going on in the overall market. It's also a great way to get through earnings season. Okay, we're starting to heat up into earnings season here over the next couple of weeks. We're going to have many of the high flyers releasing earnings. Personally, I'm not a big earnings guy. Okay, I don't like to trade around those releases. Anytime we can come in and overnight where you see 20, 30% moves in a stock, yeah, if it works out in your favor, that's great. But when it doesn't, those trades that don't win, those can sting, and those can take a big hit on your account quickly. So I don't like to trade earnings on individual equities. But that doesn't mean I don't want to. That doesn't mean I just want to sit on the sidelines during earnings, because we have earnings 4 times a year. I mean, I want to make sure that I'm still able to trade products where I'm still pretty active. Okay, so the ETFs, I really shift my focus during the earnings season to the ETFs. Just allows me a great way to be involved in the markets with not being overly exposed to one individual equity. And you also don't have to deal with upgrades or downgrades. A really big pet peeve of mine, when you can come in and you're trading a product, you're in a position, you get an upgrade or downgrade overnight, nothing you can do about it until the market opens. It really just drives me nuts. And when you get those announcements out of the blue, you don't have to worry about that as much on the ETFs. So that's another great feature as well. Some of my favorite ETFs to trade, I'm sure when you take a look at this list, for many of you, you probably recognize many of these. Okay, in fact, I would probably guess that many of you are trading some of these products on this list. Okay, you've got a good mix of index products, you've got a volatility product, you've got an emerging market product, a lot of different sectors covered in here. So now all of a sudden, if you've got a smaller account size, we can diversify pretty quickly and with some really great products. I'm going to show you some of the recent trade results, some of the trades that have been closed out here over just the past few days. Just because you're trading an ETF, just because you're not trading products like Apple and Google, doesn't mean you can't book those 100% home run trades. I'm going to show you a couple of those here just from recently on these ETFs, just some really phenomenal trades, really phenomenal results without having to tie up a ton of your capital trading those high flyers. So let's jump over to the charts now, and we'll talk through how we take the trades, what makes us set up, and what makes the PTU system different than many others out in the market today. So I'm going to start out with symbol DIA. Okay, this is the ETF that tracks the Dow. Okay, so now instead of just being overly exposed to a single name like Apple or Google or IBM, whatever the name might be, now all of a sudden we're trading a single product, but it's representing a whole index. Okay, so really great way to diversify. So when I pull up this chart, okay, it probably looks pretty similar to what many of you look at. Okay, I mean, it's just a basic price chart. The major difference here is that this is not a time-based chart. For many of you, you're probably looking at a daily chart or an hourly, a 15-minute chart, whatever it might be. Those time-based charts, they're forced to print bars or candles based on a set amount of time, which, as long as the market's active, you can get away with. That's fine. But what we're doing is we're taking a pretty different approach. Okay, we're actually using what's called a range chart. And on the Dow here, we're looking at a range of 77 cents. You can see that number in the upper left-hand corner here. So what that means is that every one of these bars on my chart represents 77 cents of price action from high to low. It has nothing to do with time. Okay, from now until the end of the session here today, we could see 3 bars print. If the market slows down, we could see 1 bar print. It all depends on how active the market is. We're looking solely on price action. Okay, so what I have found over time is a range chart acts as a really nice built-in chop filter. Okay, for many people, it's about adding 10 different indicators and using multiple time frames for confirmation to try to stay out of the chop, to try to pick out the best movement. Well, I can eliminate a lot of that noise just by using a range chart, because now we're just focused strictly on how that stock or ETF is moving based solely on the price. So if the market action is, if it's very active, you're going to see this chart very active. If the market slows down, this chart is not forced to print bars or candles. That's the way we were able to filter out a lot of that chop. Okay, the second big difference is the use of our trade calculator. Okay, with many systems out there, you can log in. I mean, you can listen to a presenter, cover the system. It makes sense in theory, and while they're sitting there talking, it makes sense. But once you leave that webinar, once you don't have access to that speaker, that picture's not as clear cut. I mean, do I get in here? Do I not? Once I'm in a trade, do you know where to get out? Do you know where your targets are at? Do you know where your stops are at? what we've done here is all of our criteria that makes a setup, everything is programmed right into the calculator. There's no gray area. There's no guessing. Everything is crystal clear. There's a roadmap printed on the chart for you to follow. So if I come in here to this most recent trade that we just closed out on the Dow, notice it right here, you'll see these plus signs. That's our entry point. You'll see the two sets of green dots here. Those are our targets. Our stop, which is the series of red dots, those are the stops. Everything is outlined for me before I ever get into the trade. Everything's updating in real time. If I come over here to the far right edge of the chart, I mentioned I've looked at the charts for 10 minutes today. Okay, the reason I can do that is if I jump in here and take a look at the Dow, sure, I have a short setup that's printing. Okay, I know where my entry point's at. Okay, everything's valid, everything's updating in real time. Has this trade triggered in yet? It has not. Price action has not got down to that level. If it does, I'll trigger short. This is how I'm able to get in and out very quickly. So I can come in, do my lunchtime update right now on the Dow, know exactly what my plan is for the rest of this afternoon. If I want to place a price alert for myself in here at that entry point, I can. That way I can move on to other activities today. This afternoon is going to be busy for me, just trying to wrap up my taxes, which we all love doing that, don't we? So I'm not going to have a ton of time to stare at the charts this afternoon, but I already know what my plan is on the Dow. So if we go back to this previous short trade, okay, I knew where my entry point was. When I hit that entry to go short, could I come in here and short the shares of DIA? I could, but that's just going to tie up a tremendous amount of capital. Even though it's only a $160 product, I'd rather make better use of that capital to play that downside move. So what I did is I came in and I bought the April 164 put for $1.90. That gave me control of 100 shares of DIA at $164 a share, and I paid $190 for that contract. Okay, so that's that great leverage that we talked about. So now, for less than what many of us pay for cable and internet a month, we're able to take a trade on the Dow and control 100 shares. Now this trade, okay, it kind of chopped around a bit. I mean, it wasn't a straight move down to target. We triggered in here on the 7th. We hit target on the 11th. So all in all, it's still a pretty quick trade. We hit our profit target. Notice how the calculator picked that target pretty accurately. I mean, we didn't pick the exact bottom, but it was pretty darn close. Remember, these targets are in place before we ever enter the trade. So, there's no looking back on it and saying, well, I should have done this. I should have gotten out there. That was where the bottom was at. These targets were already in place before I ever entered the trade. So once we hit that target, I sold out of that position, booked a $213 profit. Okay, that's 112% return. Okay, this is not Apple, this is not Google. 112% return, that's a home run trade in my book. Okay, and this is a diversified products, an ETF. That's a great trade. So what do I do after I get out of the position? Well, I just wait for the next setup to print. It's as easy as that. So now I'm looking at the current markets, like I mentioned earlier. We're just waiting for the next setup to print now. We don't have anything setting up just yet as far as trades triggering in, and we're just going to wait to see if we hit that entry point this afternoon. All right, let's take a look at another one. Let's take a look at symbol FAS. Okay, this is one of the financial ETFs that I've traded for quite some time. All these names that I cover here today, these are ETFs that have been a part of my watch list for, in some cases, years. I mean, these are not products that I'm just picking out for today's presentation because they had great winning trades. These are products that we trade consistently. I have many students that are also trading these products. So if we take a look at FAS, okay, now we're looking at a range of 1.15. So every one of these bars on the chart represents $1.15 of price action from high to low. Now, where am I coming up with these numbers? I mean, we're looking at 77 cents on the Dow. Now we're looking at $1.15. Where am I pulling these numbers from? There's a formula that we look at either once a month or once a quarter. For most of us, for most of my students, we look at this once a month, and we adjust that range setting once a month based on an indicator that we use. It literally takes 10 seconds to look at. What that does, because we're willing to change it once a month, we're able to stay fine-tuned to the current market conditions. As things really pick up and expand like we've seen over the past couple of weeks, we'll look at larger range settings. We'll look for larger setups. As things contract, if we get into the slow summertime months where the markets just aren't as active, we'll adjust our range setting. accordingly. We don't want to force the market to do something that it's not willing to do. So we really stay fine-tuned. The system self-adjusts to whatever the market decides to do. So on this latest short setup, this is the latest trade that was closed out. Again, our entry point, everything's outlined for us, the entry point, the targets, the stop. Instead of shorting the shares of FAS, I went ahead and I bought a weekly option in this case. So now instead of trading an option that expires once a month, these options expire once a week. So I bought this weekly 88.5 put for $3.60. That gave me control of 100 shares of FAS. Okay, so for $360 per contract, I'm controlling those 100 shares. So again, pretty reasonable. Okay, a very actively traded product. You know, regardless of your account size, this is probably a pretty reasonable trade. This one, really textbook, picture perfect. We never took any heat during the balance of the trade. We sold out of that trade, booked a $375 profit, another 104% return. Okay, when we see these 100% returns, those are home run trades in my book. They're very high probability trades. Really, really love these types of setups. Now the great part about this, notice what happened when we started to go down into profit. Let me mark the stop initially with a horizontal line. Notice what happened when we started to move down into profit. The stop moves down as well. Initially it moved down to break even. As we continue to head down to that second target, we start to initiate a trailing stop. Everything's programmed into the calculator. A lot of times when people get into trades, as soon as they start to get into profit, what do? Well, they want to jump out. They want to book that profit as soon as possible. All we have to do is follow the calculator, trust the system. We have our trailing stop in place. We have our target in place. Until one of those levels is hit, there's nothing for us to do. We just let the trade work out. Now, in this case, we were fortunate enough to where we hit full target and we booked a full profit. If we go back here to the previous trade, you can see here where we didn't quite hit full target. We got taken out at our trailing stop. Okay, we protected that profit as we moved down. And now, very much like the Dow, we have a new short setting up here for this afternoon. The entry point's at 82.19. Everything's outlined for us. There's no guesswork here. If I wanted to set a price alert for myself, I could do so. That way I can move on with my afternoon. And if I get a price alert, I can have those alerts emailed to me or sent to my phone. That way I can be out and about doing other things. If I get the alert sent to my phone, time to come in, place the trade accordingly. Okay, very, very easy. What about TLT? This is one of the bond ETFs. Okay, so this is another great way to diversify. Now all of a sudden we're looking at the bond market. We're not looking at individual equities. Well, TLT has been very, very active. This is a case where we're playing the long side. Okay, the system read the entry point, gave us our entry, gave us our targets, gave us our stops. Notice what happened when we started to go into profit, very much like we just walked through on FAS. Stop moved up to break even, started to initiate a trailing stop, and in this case, we were fortunate enough to hit the full target. So in this case, I bought an April 107 call for $1.78. It's $178 per contract. Once I hit full target, I closed out of that trade for $3.48. I booked a $170 profit, and again, 96% return. Okay, so this just goes to show you can trade ETFs and still see those home run trades, still see those really nice returns. You don't have to be pressured into trading those high flyers. A lot of times people think, hey, I can't make a full-time living. I can't make money in the markets unless I'm trading those high flyers, and it's not the case. Okay, let's take a look at one more. What about some energy exposure? What about some exposure to the oil market? This is USO. Okay, the U.S. Oil Fund. Okay, another great product. It's been a really nice product for us to trade. We've booked a lot of profits on this ETF of late. Here again, long trade, entry point, targets, stops, everything outlined for us. We went ahead and we bought the April 36 call for 87 cents. Once our entry point is hit, just because a trade prints on the chart does not mean we jump right in. We have to wait for price action to come up and hit our entry point, which we did. So for $87 per contract, I'm controlling 100 shares of USO. Okay, that's that leverage that we talked about. Now, nothing says you can't come in, and on all these trades, the numbers that I'm quoting you are based on trading one contract. Okay, you'll have no problem getting filled on multiple contracts. I do that on every trade myself. These are the most active ETFs. I mean, you can come in and get filled on USO. Can you get filled with a 10 lot or a 20 lot? Not a problem. Okay, so even though we talk about a $61 profit on this trade, $61 doesn't feel like that much, doesn't sound like that much. But remember, we only paid $87 to begin with. That's still a 70% return on our money. And in this case, we triggered into this trade. We triggered in on the 8th. We hit target on the 11th. So a lot of these trades, our average holding time is anywhere from 24 hours on out to 2 weeks. A lot of the trades that I've taken here lately were in and out in typically 2 to 3 days is a typical holding time right now with the market active. So we're talking about 70% returns, 100% returns in just a handful of days. I mean, that's pretty powerful. Okay, so again, these are 4 of the ETFs that I trade on a very regular basis. Are you limited to these ETFs that we talk about? No, our system, you can use it on any stock or ETF that you can imagine. Okay, many of the names that I look at, if I were to pull up a TradeStation hot list, which I'll take a quick peek at right now, this is just a list of the most actively traded products today based on their options volume. So if we take a look, this is just showing the top 50 from today. I mean, notice the top 4 names on this list right now. All 4 of them are ETFs. Okay, in fact, looking at these 4 symbols right here, all 4 of these are names that we trade with the PTU product. Okay, if we take a look at this top 50, you're going to see many of the ETFs that we look at on this list. FXI we trade, that's the Chinese ETF. GLD, which is the gold ETF. We trade many of these products. These are the best names to look at. As options traders, we want that liquidity. We want to trade those products that are very easy to get in and out of very quickly. Okay, we can also pull up, this is pretty cool here, and we'll walk through more details on this in a bit. This is a performance report, which you'll notice on these setups that I walked through. Notice how we have these diagonal lines. That is our Trade Assist tool identifying the entry points and exit points based on the criteria that we have built into the calculator. This is not a robot. It's not an automated tool that you can use to just flip the switch on and let it trade for you. This is a tool that we use for testing so we can make sure that we're trading the names and with the settings that are giving us the best results. Okay, that's how I'm able to take these trades with confidence, because I can pull up a performance report and know that, okay, going back to October, I always do a 4-month look back when I optimize my trades. This one here that I'm showing you today, we're actually going back a little bit further. Okay, but going back over the past 13 trades, we've won 12 out of the last 13 trades. 92% win rate. A profit factor for me, any profit factor over 2 is acceptable. You can see our profit factor is over 11. So I just want to make sure my winners are larger than my losers. All of the numbers here, I mean, we're hitting it out of the park here on USO. So what we can do is very easily, back when we initially did a lot of testing, a lot of it was done manually. And when I say manually, it's going in and with an Excel spreadsheet or with a notebook, just jotting down every trade as they came to track performance. Now I can quickly use this Trade Assist tool, and in a matter of just a few minutes, I can run a performance report and say, okay, what happens if I stretch this target out a bit and go for a bigger target? Or what happens if I go for a smaller target? Can I increase my performance? And in the matter of a few minutes, it can go back all the way to October if we ask it to, and identify all the trades to quickly analyze and evaluate what those changes in the indicator settings would produce. Okay, really, really powerful tool, and I'm sure for many of you in here, that's probably pretty attractive, because I know I talk to traders on a regular basis that spend hours and days on end testing. It's made a huge difference in my trading, really a big breakthrough. Just it saves a tremendous amount of time. Okay, so really, really neat tool there. So I could go on and on. I mean, the markets have been very, very active of late. I mean, it's been a phenomenal stretch of trading, and I really don't see that changing anytime soon. So hopefully you can see the power of the system. what I want to do next is, I walked through 4 of our favorite ETFs. I showed you the charts. I showed you the most recent trades. But why did I pick those specific options? Why did I pick those expiration cycles? I traded the monthly options in some cases. I traded the weekly options in others. Why did I pick the specific strike prices? What was the criteria that I was looking for? As a newer options trader, some of that can be overwhelming. And that's why a lot of people shy away from these markets, because they don't know where to start. So what we wanted to do is say, okay, we're going to give you access to the system producing incredible results right now. Okay, but we also want to add in the options education side of it, so that we can train you to trade options the way we do at NetPicks, using our criteria. We'll show you exactly which strategies to use on every trade setup that comes. So if we get those short trades to trigger in this afternoon, like we talked about, trades on the Dow and on symbol FAS, we can go to our playbook and follow the criteria step by step to identify the exact option to put on. So what we did was we combined the system with the options training to create the Options Mastery product. Okay, this product is designed to take you from beginner to advanced in 1 month's time. We'll teach you the system. We'll teach you all of the options information that you'll need to know to start trading profitably. So what does it look like? You'll have access to the complete PTU system, all of the custom indicators, the custom calculator, which allows me to get in and out in 20 minutes a day or less. Okay, that's the key. If I didn't have that calculator printing that roadmap for me, printing the entry points and targets and stops, I couldn't get in so quickly every day. I'd be stuck there calculating those entry and exit points all day long. We're going to give you access to all of those custom tools as part of the system. We're also going to include access to our 2-day training coming up here on the 24th and 25th. Okay, the 2-day training, we're going to be live 6 hours each day. First day is dedicated to teaching you the ins and outs of the PTU system, how we use it, how we can create trade plans, how you can design it to really reflect your trade style. Day 2 is really focused on the specific option strategies that we use. Okay, all of the criteria, all of the different types of trades you can take, that's really what we'll focus on in day 2. So really going to be a fun full day, both days, just a lot of material to cover. After that, we are live 3 days a week in our training room for Q&A sessions. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're live at 12 noon Eastern. We're typically live for 60 to 90 minutes. Just gives you a great opportunity to get in, ask questions in real time, watch me take trades in real time. These are all trades that I'm taking personally. I'm not just sitting there training you how to use the system. My hard-earned money is on the line as well. The Options 101 course, if you're brand new to options, okay, if some of the terminology that I used here earlier, if that doesn't quite sink in yet, if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, the Options 101 course is a great way that you can get up to speed with all the basics. Okay, and you'll have access to this available immediately. It's on our owner's website where you can log in, watch our series of videos, get up to speed with all the terms and definitions that we use. That way you're ready to go for the 2-day training coming up on the 24th and 25th. We'll also give you access to our exclusive owner site as well. That's where we have access to all of the training materials, the live trade, the training room 3 days a week. You'll have access to all of that right on our owner site. So like I mentioned, the 2-day training is coming up on April 24 and 25. It will be held online, so you don't have to worry about traveling, none of that. You can log in right into the room. You'll be able to view my charts, ask questions in real time. If you can't attend live, it will be recorded. Everything will be posted right on the owner site, so you can view it at any point down the road. Some of the option strategies that we'll cover, we'll talk about calls and puts like we mentioned here today. We'll talk about some vertical spreads, which we covered in our last webinar. And then we'll cover some more of the advanced strategies. Okay, if you do nothing else but learn how to trade calls and puts and some vertical spreads, you'll be just fine. You can make a really nice living trading options. But I know I've got traders in here that want to take it to the next level. They want to trade some more of those advanced types of trades. We'll cover those as well. Some of the more exotic types of trades like iron condors and straddles and strangles, some butterflies. We'll give you the exact playbook that we use. And when I say a playbook, if you want to trade a vertical spread, you're going to go to the vertical spread section of the playbook, and we'll give you step-by-step criteria for how to set those trades up. So there's no guessing what expiration cycle to use. There's no guessing what strike price to use. Everything is outlined clearly for you. Now the 3 Q&A calls every week, I really wanted to add this in there, really important, because back when I first started trading, it was really frustrating for me because here I was reading a whole series of books, and my options library is pretty large. It's almost embarrassing how many books I read early on. Okay, but the difficulty was I couldn't transition from reading the book to the live markets. I wasn't able to profit from the knowledge that I was gaining. Here I was reading the book, and most of the books that I have read like a textbook, so I was gaining a lot of definitions, a lot of knowledge, but when it came to taking the trades live, I just hit the wall. I couldn't translate the knowledge to the live market conditions. So I really wanted to have access to somebody there that would say, Mike, maybe you shouldn't do that. Let's do this instead. Somebody there that I could grill with questions. And I wanted to make sure with this product that you have access to myself 3 days a week. That way you can get in there, ask any question that might come up, as basic or advanced as you want to make it. Does not matter to me. Everything's fair game. And then we'll also take trades in a live format. That way you can really start to sink in with all the criteria that we talked about, so you're able to see those in live market conditions. So again, each one of those sessions is recorded, and we do post those recordings on the owner site. So if you're at a full-time job, or if you've got other commitments that just don't allow you to attend every session, you can review those at any point in time down the road. The one-on-one course I mentioned, we'll walk through all the basics. You'll have access to this immediately. We'll walk through all the key terms and definitions. We'll also walk through the different ways that you can use options. We'll talk about some of the Greeks, some of the different inputs that go into the pricing model, some of the factors that can affect the price of an option. Everything that you'll need to know to really get up to speed quickly will be covered in that one-on-one course. The Owners Club, you'll have access to the training room 3 days a week, which we just talked through. We also track a model portfolio. We have over 30 trade plans developed at this point. There's over 30 different products that you can pick and choose from. Now that doesn't mean you have to trade 30 different products. You don't have to trade all of them. Okay, we want to give you a good list of names to choose from, and we'll help you through that process to narrow that list down to a manageable number of names. I have students that look at 3 names. I have students that look at 15 names. It all depends on how active you want to be and how large your account size is. Okay, what we've done in the live room, we give you access to our model portfolio where we've narrowed it down to 12 names. And we cover those names every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That way you can stay up to speed with how we're taking the setups. We'll cover all the trades in progress live each day. Just a good opportunity for you to see things in action. The trade plans, it's a ton of time to create these trade plans and keep them up to date. And when markets change, if we need to adjust the range settings like we talked through, or adjust any trade plans, it takes a ton of time for me to do that for 30 plus products every month. You'll have access to all of those on the owner side. I do it for you. I do all the hard lifting for you. That way you know you're up to speed with all the current settings that we're using, all the current products that we're looking at. The Trade Assist automation, I just got done showing you that tool. That is the automated tool that we can use to very quickly test different products and different settings. Very useful tool, really just such a game changer in my own trading. So we'll give you access to all of that information on the owner site. First 30 days is free. After that, it's $97 a month. You do not have to be a member of the owner site to use the system. Once you purchase the system, it is yours for life. You can cancel the owner site membership at any point in time. If you do cancel it, you'll still have access to the system. You'll just lose access to the training room and the ongoing training and support. Okay, here's some of the trade plans that we have created. A lot of these names will probably look familiar to you guys. I mean, we're trading the most liquid products. We're not trying to jump in and recreate the wheel here. I mean, we want to trade the products that are the most active. So these are the names that we trade on a very regular basis. And I'm sure most of those look pretty familiar to many of you guys. Some of the results, we've walked through many of these results here over the past couple of webinars. How much profit did we walk through here just today? I mean, we walked through 3 trades that had 100% winners. I mean, those are some really great results. To add on top of that, $1,100 on Apple, $1,100 on Priceline, close to $400 on the gold ETF, which we didn't even cover today. We didn't even have time to get to that one. Netflix, over $550 of profit. TLT, 80% win rate the last 5 months. Netflix, 85% win rate. What did we look at? USO, and we ran the performance report there with a 90% win rate. It's not perfect. We're not going to have winners on every trade. We're going to have losing trades. But when you have a system that puts the odds in your favor, when you start to see statistics like this, it's amazing how confident you can get and how much easier it is to trade when you know you have a system there that has your back, the system there that's producing the results for you. So the good news for joining us here today, we are going to tack on a few additional bonuses. We'll give you access to 2 one-on-one personal coaching sessions. I know it's beneficial if you want to connect in a one-on-one format, just to ask questions that you don't feel comfortable asking in a group format, anything specific to your account size or to what names you should trade. Anything is fair game there as well for those one-on-one sessions. We'll also tack on an additional 30 days in the Owners Club, so we'll give you 60 days included with the package. And then we'll knock off another $200 off of the price here today just for taking time out of your busy day. We do have to limit the class size. We are limiting it to 55 people. Okay, once we hit that number, we do have to cut it off. I want to make sure this is a small class size. Make sure you get access to the training and support that you need. We've held this class twice already. Both classes have filled up. This one will fill up as well. So once we hit 55, we will be shutting it down. So just make sure you act quickly here today to get a seat reserved before the class fills up. So just a quick recap of what you get with the system. Access to the full PTU system with the custom indicators, the custom trade calculator. It's a $1,500 value. Access to, it's over 30 trade plans now. We've actually added to the list. Those trade plans, $1,300 value. Automated trade assist software, which we showed you, it's a $1,000 value. The 2-day training, it's a $1,000 value. Options 101 course, the weekly Q&As. We're showing you close to $6,000 worth of content. I'm not going to charge you anywhere close to that, so don't get worried about the price there. We're going to keep it very reasonable because we want to make sure that you're able to get in, get the training that you need, and still have a good amount of capital to trade with. Okay, I've also got 3 bonuses available here today. So for the first 3 people to sign up, I'm going to give you lifetime access to the owner site. Remember, that's $97 a month ongoing. So that's close to a $1,200 savings in just the first year. Okay, I've only got 3 of those available here today. So for the first 3 people, you'll have lifetime access to the live training 3 days a week. So the one-time price, $12.97. If we need to split that up into a payment plan, we can do so. 3 payments of $4.97. So if you're ready to sign up, that's the cost. Remember, the owner's site, you can cancel that at any time. You're not required to stay ongoing there for the system to keep working. The system is yours for life. So there's a link to sign up, netpicks.com/options. If you're ready to go, ready to reserve your seat, go ahead and visit that link. Remember, I said at the start, there is a way that you can get access to this whole program at no cost. It's a really, really neat offer. And here it is. What we've done is we've teamed up with TradeStation, and they're willing to offer a scholarship. And you get the scholarship. It's just a full tuition reimbursement, and it's through a commission rebate. So they're willing to give you a commission rebate to cover the cost of the program. So if you open up an account with them, trade with TradeStation, you're basically getting the options mastery program, all the indicators, the custom trade plans. You're getting it at no cost. I mean, it's a really neat deal. It really just takes all the guesswork out of it. I mean, it's just I really wish I had this back when I first started trading. And additionally, TradeStation is offering 180 days free for the platform, or $500 in commission rebates as well. So TradeStation really just sweetening the pot there for many people. So hopefully many of you will take advantage of that offer. We do offer the 45-day unconditional money-back guarantee as well. So to take all the guesswork out of it, okay, if you're on the fence, I know there's a lot of you, we've polled you guys, a lot of you have attended other training sessions. If you're not happy with the level of training and support that you received with us, if you're not happy with the results, you can return the product for a full refund, no questions asked. Okay, we're confident in the system. I've showed you the results here today. the system's going to continue to perform. Okay, and we want to give you those tools to set you up to become that profitable trader that we all want to be. We do also have a team of people here to help with any issues that might pop up. We're available every day, so you don't have to worry about signing up and never having access to us down the road. We have a team of people that's ready to help you through any sign-up issues or technical issues that you have when setting up your indicators. We really have a great team of people here to help. So again, here's the link to sign up, netpicks.com/options. 55 seats available. Remember, once we hit that 55 number, we do have to cut that off. So if you're ready to go, make sure you do visit that link. You cannot click on this link here. Just make sure you type that into your browser. And of course, if you want to talk to us in more detail here this afternoon before you pull the trigger, here's the email, here's the phone number. Feel free to give us a call. My direct email is mike@netpicks.com. Feel free to email me directly as well, and I'll make sure to get your questions answered. So I'm sure we do have questions coming in the chat. So Brian, why don't I throw it back over to you and we can start to take a look at some questions.
Okay, thanks, Mike. And this is the time for you to get any unanswered questions that you might have into the text box. There was a common question that I want to kind of cover here and just make sure it's very clear. And the question is this, and it's what platform do you need to have to display the indicators on? And it's really simple. It's TradeStation, which is what Mike showed you today, or NinjaTrader. Okay, and those are the charting platforms that we'll make our trade decisions on. Now, the broker that you trade with is 100% up to you. You can trade with Thinkorswim, Options Express, TradeStation. TradeStation's a broker also, so not to confuse you with the TradeStation platform. But the point I want to make here is you can place your trades at any broker of your choice. And so you just need to have one of the two platforms that I mentioned, TradeStation or Ninja, to actually chart on and make your decisions. So again, I want to clear that up. A little bit of confusion, and I know one individual said you can't do TradeStation with Canadian accounts, and you actually can. You can pay for the subscription. They just don't give you the free access. And then you also have NinjaTrader as an option in that scenario, Hector. So, so hopefully that's clear. If you have TradeStation already, then that's awesome, Dave. So yeah, you're set to go. The calculator will work just fine. Leon asking the question, how do I apply for the free system when opening a new account with TradeStation? Okay, so Leon, let me just kind of cover that, and so you're very clear. The system won't be free initially. You're going to have to pay for it, but what you're going to get from TradeStation over time is a 20% rebate on your commissions up to the full value of the system. Okay, so that's how that works, and you do have to set up a new account. Now, we give you the detail of how to do that, the contact to speak with at TradeStation once you become a member with us. And it'll be on the Owners Club, so that's not something we give out in advance. Okay, good. Thanks, Leon, for the feedback. Very clear. Let's see, Harlan left. He says, thanks for the good information. Want to check out TradeStation and cost. He uses Thinkorswim. Obviously, the deal with the TradeStation rebate of tuition would not be available if using Thinkorswim. Yes, Harlan, if you're going to trade somewhere else other than TradeStation, then you don't get the benefit of the 20% commission back. That is correct. So that's just a great option we wanted to put out there. I can tell you the way Mike is configured. He charts off a TradeStation like he showed you today, but places his trades with Thinkorswim. So that's a very, very common configuration. We're pretty much caught up with questions. I'm going to do a call out here for any final questions that you might have. I think Will did an awesome job of answering all the questions prior to this. If there's a question that was skipped or you didn't get an answer that was clear, go ahead and put that into the text box at this point. David asking, do we teach you how to use TradeStation, or will they? Well, that's a part of the training process that we have in the education package. It really is not that difficult to learn how to use TradeStation. There's some things you'll have to understand. But for the most part, the basics of using TradeStation are kind of taught in as you watch us. And that's the last question. Mike, any other comments you want to make at this point while we're waiting for some additional questions?
Sure. What I did here just a few minutes ago, I did pull up NinjaTrader. This is the Ninja platform, and as you can see, the system remains the same. Looks very similar. I'm just showing a white background here on Ninja, so really does not matter which platform you decide to go with. And I know it's it's attractive to have access to that TradeStation offer, but don't let that be a deal breaker for you. I don't want you to feel like, hey, if I don't have access to TradeStation, I can't use the system. You can use Ninja just fine. We have many people that use Ninja. And again, guys, remember some of the results that I showed you, those are some of the recent trades that we've looked at. I mean, I don't want you to sit there and say, well, if I can't have access to a certain platform, I can't trade this. I mean, the results, the profits are there. I mean, I want you to have access to the system. So if we can help out in any way, make a decision on which platform to go with, feel free to contact me directly. I'm more than willing to work with you on that side of things as well. And Brian, I just see a few questions coming in, so I can cover those as well. Sean, you were asking, what is your average win-loss ratio across those ETFs? Well, I showed you some of those results with the TA. Let me go back. I showed you the USO, right? I mean, I showed you the 90% win rate there. We talked through, let's switch over to the Dow. Let me pull up the performance report there. Okay, you can see here, not as many trades on the Dow. Again, it all just depends on how active the market is. 70% win rate there on the Dow. FAS, 67% win rate. The winning percentage for me is not as important. Okay, I'd love to see it, and as you can see in many of these examples, we have really nice win rates. We ideally want to see a 2/3 win rate. We really want to see that 65, 66% win rate at a minimum. But for me, I'm not as concerned with win rate as I am with the profit factor. If I can make sure that my wins are larger than my losses over time, if I make sure that I've got a nice profit factor, I'm okay. There's many trade plans that I've seen in the past. They're only winning 55% of the time, but they are just killing it on the profit side because the winners are so much larger than the losers. So in many of our cases, I mean, we're seeing 65, 70, 80% win rates. Not uncommon to see that. You know, these are the most actively traded products, and that's by design. So hopefully that helps you out with that question. Dave, do not have TradeStation. How difficult is Ninja? Ninja's a great platform. We have many people using that platform. It's, you know, like anything else. I mean, there's going to be a learning curve, but it's nothing overly complex. Pretty easy platform to use overall. And again, if you need any help with that, feel free to get in contact with me, and I'll help you through any issues that might pop up. JP asking recommended minimum account size to trade options. It's a question that comes up all the time. Many brokers require you to have between a $2,500 and $5,000 account to start with. $5,000 is really the minimum that I would recommend. You know, anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000. That's probably a typical average starting size. Okay, I walked you through the trades today. I mean, all the trades that we walked through today, I mean, we're talking about, you know, under $300 to take the trades. So, you know, yes, you've got to have a $5,000 account, but there, in many cases, you know, we're able to keep our risk pretty reasonable on each trade that we take. So, anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 is going to be an acceptable starting point. Okay, Laura asking, really nervous about range charts in practice. Since you don't know when the bars will close, how can you time your trades? It's a very valid point, Laura. I mean, you're right. We don't know when those range charts will close, or when the range bars will close. The nice part about our system, when we have a setup print on our calculator, we can turn the alerts on. Okay, so you can have those alerts either sent to your computer or sent to your phone, however you want to set it up. So if we get an alert, if we get a setup to print, and we get those alerts to trigger, regardless of where you're at during the day. I have many times where I'm out of my office and I get those alerts to trigger in middle of the day. So really easy there. You can set price alerts for yourself as well. And if you take a look at the range charts, and if you say, hey, you know what, I don't like the feel, the system works perfectly fine on time-based charts as well. Okay, we look at a time-based chart on Google right now at the moment. So you can use time-based charts. What I have found is the benefits of a range chart far outweigh any type of negative that you can think of. Okay, they've really made a big difference in my trading. And Brian, at this point, I can throw it back to you if anything else is coming in.
Okay. Yeah, a few more questions coming in. I was actually talking a little bit ago, but you didn't hear me because I didn't have my mic on. So, anyways, let me announce the 3 individuals that got the free lifetime. So I want to make you guys aware of that. Charles R., you were number 1 as far as on the keyboard there. So welcome, Charles. I'm going to mess up this name, but Branitha B., and I apologize if I didn't say that right, you were position number 2, and Robert S., you were in position number 3. So welcome to you guys. And let's see here, Mike, I'm trying to see where you left off. Brian's, okay, looks like you answered Brian. So Brian was asking the question there, how do you choose weekly option trade over a monthly? And so Mike answered you there. Let's see. Is the free Ninja Trader suitable? So Mike, what would your comment be on the free Ninja Trader? They're definitely going to need some kind of data, so that's going to cost, I can tell you that. But if you're not going to place your trades through Ninja, then you can definitely use the free version of Ninja. Would be my 2 cents. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that, Mike.
Yeah, you can. On the data side, you will need access to a data feed, and because we're using the range charts, you cannot just use the free end-of-day data. So the range data, it's anywhere from $50 to $55 a month for that. So that would be your cost there. But Ninja, if you're just going to use it for the charting, everything will work just fine. I popped up a chart here just a few minutes ago. You'll see that everything works exactly the same on Ninja as it does on TradeStation. So you'll be just fine with that.
Mike, Cynthia's asking a really good question here. And she's asking, don't you set the target entry and stop at the time that the setup prints with an OCO and not have to be in front of the computer? So why don't you explain how that works a little bit with options? It's a little bit different.
Yeah, you can, and I'm glad you brought this up. You can use conditional orders, so that's one way of doing it. So if we get a setup, for example, and it triggers in, I know I'm not going to be by my computer this afternoon. I know I'm going to be out and about. You can place conditional orders. So what that means is if you buy a call option, for example, and you're in a long trade, you can go ahead and set a conditional order that says, all right, if a certain stock price is hit, I want my call option to be sold. I want that position to be closed. You can absolutely use those order types. I have many students that do that. I use those as well in certain situations. More often than not, I actually use price alerts. So that if a certain level is hit, if a target or stop is hit, I have an alert sent to me. I have a mobile platform. I have I use Thinkorswim for my broker. Have their mobile platform right on my iPhone or my iPad, so I can log in quickly and place the trades that way. If you don't have access to that, the conditional orders, they work great. I mean, it's definitely a great way to get the trades on and move on with your day. So we actually have training videos on the owner site that walk you through how to set up those conditional orders.
Okay, Mike, that looks like that was the last question. So I want to thank you for taking time to be with us today. I do appreciate spending the time. And do you have any final comments? And Mike, you might have clicked your mic off.
Yeah, don't know. I do that once a webinar, guaranteed. So
well,
thank you to everybody that signed up here today. Really looking forward to the 2-day training coming up on the 24th and 25th. Like I mentioned earlier, the markets are perfect for what we try to do with our trading. So really, it's just a great time for you to get involved. For those of you that are still working through some issues, feel free to contact me directly. My email is mike@netpicks.com. We've got a few seats left, so feel free to contact me, and we'll see if we can get you signed up here over the next couple of days. So thanks again, everybody, for joining in today, and we'll talk to you again soon.